Ananda here with Peaceful Living in Chaotic Times. This channel is devoted to true sovereignty, and I hope you enjoy the content. Today, I want to talk to you about one of the maxims of equity. And we know that God's highest law form is trust. And in trust, so God entrusted us with dominion over the land, the air, and the water. In turn, I figured it's a good idea to trust in God. So now we're dealing in trust. Trust is synonymous with air jurisdiction, which has to do with ecclesiastics. So oftentimes it's not tangible, it's esoteric in nature, synonymous with equity. So equity, fairness, trust, right? God's highest law form. So these maxims of equity also can translate to mean value. So guess who holds or what holds the most value here on the planet? You. You hold more value than any gold that exists on the planet. You are the most valuable commodity that exists just by the mere fact that you exist. God believed and loved you so much that he created you into existence. So, in this lawful, God's highest law form, which is trust, we have the maxims of equity. I love the maxims of equity. The maxims of law and the maxims of equity are a code of ethics, if you will. They are recognized in all jurisdictions, and yet they're not really formal, so to speak. Yet many know of these maxims of equity. They are universal and highly respected in all jurisdictions, as far as my study has shown me. So, one of the maxims of equity is everything is trust, and there is nothing that is not trust. So, you can replace the word trust with God. Everything is God, and there is nothing that is not God. So, with this being said, one of the maxims of everything is trust and there's nothing that is not trust, we can use this in our lawful affidavits to declare and decree which jurisdiction we're in. How beautiful. And how is this maxim true? Well, it's an isness. There doesn't have to be any verification of the fact of the matter, because there's an innate knowing that this is true. And yet, if someone asks for verification that it is true, we can go back to the trust indenture known as the Holy Bible, and we look at the first 5 books of Moses, and we see that God breathed life into existence. And we are created in the image and likeness of God Almighty. So, recognizing that if we are created by the Most High God, and we indeed are created in the image and likeness of our Creator, we are probes of that which created us. We are, let's say this is God, and we're the probes. We're the parts of the whole. And so we are not separate from, and we are not beneath. We are part of the whole, okay? The whole of God. So everything is God, and there's nothing that is not God. Everything is trust, and there's nothing that is not trust. So in God we trust. So if everything is trust and there's nothing that is not trust, let's go back to the founding fathers and the first trust called the Declaration of Independence. This is a trust indenture that we the people, meaning we the living men and women, the children of God, declare and decree our independence from the crown. We declare and decree our independence from any other man or woman, because no man or woman has dominion over another man or woman unless we consent to it. So, as one of we the people, we declare and decree our true sovereignty, and we can include ourselves in this original trust indenture for the United States of America. Remember, everything is trust and there's nothing that is not trust. Well, this first trust, the Declaration of Independence, the Bill of Rights, the amendments, and so on, these are the original trusts that we inherited. So we are beneficiaries of the trust, meaning in the trust, it is declared and decreed that our rights are to be protected. And in the original trust indentures, it gives the directives of the trust. So we have freedom of speech, we have the right to bear arms, we don't carry firearms, we bear arms. So you see in the world of legalese, they have their own terminology. But if we go back to constitutional law words, now we're going to be using right law language from the original trust. But we, as the founding fathers passed away, we inherited grantorship. We inherited grantorship of the original as creators. So the founding fathers were the original creators of the Constitution, Declaration of Independence, the Bill of Rights, and so on. And we inherit when the grantor passes away. And we can remain a beneficiary whether the grantor is alive or deceased. So what happens here is when we say everything is trust and there's nothing that is not trust, if we're ever challenged in a courtroom, which is different than a court, right? In America, we have courts. We don't have courtrooms. So in admiralty law jurisdiction, there are courtrooms. So let's say we're invited through a summons to go and appear in a courtroom. We can go back to the original trust and declare and decree and give the directives of the trust, because everything is trust and there is nothing that is not trust. Now, we've just converted the Article 1 court into an Article 3 court, and we're demanding, declaring, and decreeing that God's highest law form be upheld. And as we, let's say, well, I would never set foot in one of their courtrooms because I would be in treason to the trust. I would be in breach of trust because as one of we the people, I am duty bound to uphold the directives of the trust known as the Constitution for the United States of America, of the people, by the people, for the people, not of the persons, of the people, right? So because I'm duty bound to uphold the directives of the trust, if I step over the bar and I enter into the admiralty law courtrooms, I'm in treason to God Almighty. I'm in treason to America. And make no mistake, anyone who took an oath to the bar, which is a private club membership, bar standing for, in our research, we learned and discovered that bar stands for British Accredited Registry. British, it's not even English, it's Brit. So a writ is an oath, and B is for blood. It's a blood oath to the Brits who the redcoats. They're redcoats because it's a blood oath, right? And these are blood writs. Brits, not English, Brits, very different. So anyway, I kind of went off on a little tangent here, but let's go ahead and bring it back to the trust that we are beneficiaries of, that we also inherited, and we are to be trust protectors and give the directives of the trust, remembering that government can only act upon the consent of the governed. They can only act upon the consent of the governed. So how powerful is it when we say, I do not consent? Or if we were to theoretically cross the bar and enter into a courtroom, we could simply look around the room and say to the bailiff, I do not recognize you. To the acting judge, I do not recognize you. We could say to the clerk of the court, I do not recognize you. We can say to the prosecuting attorney, I do not recognize you. When you say that you do not recognize those who stand before you, you're saying, I do not contract with the crown. I do not contract with the crown. I am under no contract with the crown. And there's so many more pieces to the puzzle, but I want to help you to really get in the mindset that everything is trust and there's nothing that is not trust. Everything is God and there is nothing that is not God. So when we are in breach of trust, we've broken our covenant with God. We are sinners. Social insurance number we call the original sin, but you've just entered into commerce. Remember how Yeshua was angry and he threw over the table because he didn't want commerce performed in the temple? Well, the kingdom of heaven is within. And as far as my inner knowing tells me, is that my temple is my body. And so if I'm engaging in commerce, I've just exited the kingdom of heaven, and now I'm under contract with a false god, meaning another man or woman, which I accidentally or intentionally gave jurisdiction, gave them authority over me. And that's a mistake. However, mistakes are recognized in the law. If we made a mistake, we can come back, we can correct our error, and we can literally, in an affidavit or a lawful statement, we can write, I made a mistake, forgive me. And this should be recognized because upon education and understanding, we, as godly children, as godly citizens, we can evolve and we can educate ourselves so that we can elevate ourselves to the higher law. So we're living within the highest law more and more with every realization, that self-realization, that self-actualization, where you're getting to know thyself, you're getting to nurture your time with Creator, and you're understanding the law in a bigger way, in a deeper way, so that you don't ever have to fall into or under a lower jurisdiction. I hope this helps. We're going to go over other maxims of equity in following videos. So I do hope that you stay along for the ride because it's going to be a wild one. Please like, share, subscribe. Definitely subscribe. If you like this content, comment. Let me know what other topics you want me to address with regard to true sovereignty. And yes, not only are we going to help with lawful standing, correcting your political status, we're also going to be going into financial sovereignty and how to create that for yourself as well. So I hope you'll stay tuned and follow along with me. And I love you. May there be peace on earth for all living beings. Ciao for now.